January 1st, 2018 marked the 70-year anniversary of the 40-hour work week. In Australia, by the way. This was a work model introduced by Henry Ford, an outcome of the power of the people who demanded change. Employees were overworked and exhausted, resulting in many injuries and deaths. His shift to the 40-hour work week reflected 8 hours work, 8 hours rest and 8 hours play. While it was a noble move, it was also an astute commercial move to compete for talent from his competitors, but also to allow people to spend more time in his showroom shopping for cars. Fast forward 70 years and a lot has changed. The single biggest impact has been the digital revolution, which has transformed not only the way we live our lives, but the way we work. In this age, 25 hours a week is actual optimal productivity. So given it's Thursday night, we're all well past our best. But couple that with the fact that in the US, senior executives waste 8 hours a week, on average, in redundant meetings, costing the US economy $37 billion every year. And the 40-hour work week suddenly becomes highly inefficient. Shall we all order another glass of champagne and just enjoy the rest of the tomorrow off, even? There are not just economic ramifications, there are also social ramifications. We've gone from an industrial age to an always-on mode where we're back exactly where we started. We're overworked and exhausted. There is a new health epidemic. Stress-related illnesses, including mental illness, are rising at an alarming pace. In fact, anxiety brought on by the work-life juggle is the number one reason that women in Australia will visit the GP, and it's the number two reason for men. It's clearly time to look at new work models. I'd love to take just a moment to ask everyone in the room who would like to work more flexibly if it didn't impact your career. Can we get a show of hands? And I will say that anyone who hasn't put up their hand is probably sitting next to their boss. Because 94% of Australians would like to work more flexibly if it didn't impact their career. But this isn't just a preference for some people. For many, it's a necessity. And the 40-hour work week is excluding large pools of talent from the professional workforce. Take women as an example, just 50% of the population. At university level, 57% of women, 57% of graduates from university are women. Yet, at CEO level, just 2.4% of women are represented. BCG, Harvard Business Review, and McKinsey have all claimed that the only way that we will make measurable change in workforce participation and mobilise this wasted talent is by offering more flexible options. Full-time flexible doesn't cut it. Part-time does. There are a lot more big bubbles of qualified talent who are excluded from the full-time work models. We are seeing a seismic shift in preferences. Let's take the pre-retiree market. In an ageing workforce, there is a requirement to work longer, or many more years than what we have right now. And there is a requirement that people don't work full-time hours in those later years. And also, let's take, in an ageing population, the increase in caring responsibilities. Do you know that 1 in 8 Australians are looking after a sick or elderly loved one more than 13 hours a week on average? That's almost 2 days a week on average unpaid. How are people sustaining full-time careers with that caring responsibility? At the other end of a career, at the start of the career, we have the millennials who've grown up in a world of fractional ownership. Take, for example, Uber in transport, homes with Airbnb, and of course entertainment with Netflix. There's no need for ownership in this world. There's just this fractional contribution. So career's no different. In fact, millennials rank work-life balance as the number one job choice, number one factor in job choice. And actually, they'll represent 75% of the workforce within 7 years by 2025. So why do we care? We care because talent is the number one driver of growth for businesses in Australia, and retaining and finding talent is the number one challenge for CEOs. Once again, all signs point to fractional or part-time work models that we prefer at Beam to refer to as smart time. Finance professionals are one of the biggest enablers of change, allocating human capital resources and budgets. It starts with you. The value you can create is enormous. Reducing on-balance sheet costs with the ability to ramp up in peak periods using contingent labour. Also, imagine using part-time as an alternative to redundancies. It can slash costs, but also doesn't have the huge costs of redundancies and doesn't fully downsize your workforce. It can retain knowledge workers as automation makes more jobs more redundant, or at the very least, it reduces the effort or hours required. And really the kicker for businesses is that opening up new talent pools will bring more diverse talent in. This is critical for everyone to understand, as the impact on the bottom line is real. Increased loyalty, it reduces your attrition costs. Increased engagement increases your loyalty. More innovation from a diverse workforce also leads to greater shareholder returns and profitability. But also, from a more fractional and more part-time workforce, increased discretionary effort. If you are responsible for the profitability and future growth of your organisation, there is tremendous value you can bring by introducing fractional work models to your organisation. In fact, with the future of work coming towards us very, very quickly, it is something that we as senior leaders actually need to make sure our organisations are ready for. It's something that a number of incredible organisations have already started on the journey towards. PwC, the RBA, the ATO, EY, and many high-growth young SMEs that understand that talent is the driver of growth for their businesses. They are actively pursuing these new workforce models. The question is, are you? Thank you.